I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am. The Caped Crusader, fair citizens. And you don't have to worry, I'm not going to be doing the Adam West voice throughout this entire review. Because if I did, then it would take forever for me to reach the end of this review. So then why am I dressed up like Adam West's Batman? Because my patrons have decided that I should review Batman 66, The Lost Episode. Batman 66 is a tribute to the classic TV show, taking joy in some of the goofier elements of Batman's world that the comics of today would just rather ignore. Most of these comics are completely original stories, but today's comic is an adaptation of an actual TV episode which never made it into production, The Two-Way Crimes of Two-Face. It's my understanding that the reason it never made it past the initial treatment was because they couldn't pull off the kind of makeup that would be needed to bring Two-Face to life. Which is weird, since all you really need for Two-Face is something along the lines of Claude Rains' Phantom of the Opera. Sure, it wouldn't be an exact recreation of Two-Face, since the bulging left eye and the stretched-out mouth are problematic, but then again, it's not like the show ever saw a comic-accurate Catwoman. So yeah, this comic features the first on-screen appearance of the duplicitous DA that never was. And this cover art by Alex Ross is absolutely gorgeous. Then again, it's Alex Ross, of course it's gorgeous. I especially love the splatter paint all over the right side of Two-Face's hideout. At first glance, it looks like Batman and Robin came to the scene too late after Two-Face just slaughtered somebody and threw their guts all over the room. But no, it's just paint. Of all the things that Alex Ross could have done to reflect Two-Face's dichotomous nature, he chose to make it chaotic and psychedelic. I also gotta wonder if it's actual splatter paint, or if he made the effort to meticulously paint every single one of those little blotches one at a time. Our comic opens on the famous North Bees Auction House in the heart of uptown Gotham. Surprisingly, this is happening during the nighttime. If the TV show taught us anything, it's that Batman operates solely during the daylight. The auctioneer has the lights dimmed to present the next item, which is an almost complete set of porcelain from the Chang Dynasty.
Huh, neat.
I think it's supposed to be a spoof of the Qing Dynasty, but then porcelain from that period can be seen under normal lights just fine. Actually, this whole candlelight is just a means of introducing our villain, who is hiding behind some rather melty makeup. I'd love to see how they could have actually pulled this off in the TV show, but makeup constraints and all that. And while we're on the subject, who do you think they should have gotten to play Two-Face? Imagine you're the new casting director at 20th Century Fox, and it's up to you to find the perfect Two-Face to play the part. Who do you pick? So yeah, his face melts away, revealing Two-Face underneath. And naturally, he's wearing his classic double-sided suit under his disguise. There's enough heat in the room to melt this makeup off, but apparently his clothes remain cool. He has two goons with him as well, and surprisingly, neither of them have their names printed on their chest. The Riddler has just given me this mind-bending puzzle. What do you call a goon without a name printed clearly on his chest? How am I supposed to know that? This riddle has no answer! Two-Face and his goons leave without even trying to take any of the china. Minutes later, at Gotham City Police Headquarters. And yes, I am doing that voice every single time there's a narration box. You're welcome. Anyway, Commissioner Gordon calls Batman to tell him what's up, but he and Robin are already pulling up to the scene of the crime. That's right. I'm always one step ahead. Why? Because I'm Batman. The Commissioner and Chief O'Hara meet up with Batman and Robin a few minutes later, where they find that not only has Two-Face not stolen the china, but he's restored the missing piece of the set. But what does it mean, Batman? It means his cursed, scarred coin landed good side up when he flipped it, Commissioner. This time. Yeah, so not content with simply not committing a crime when the coin lands good side up, this version of Two-Face apparently does good deeds too. I wonder what would happen if he felt like blowing up a building. If the coin toss ended not in his favor, would he break ground for a new building? Soon after, in the dark and mysterious Batcave, deep within the rarely seen side cavern that contains the cave's legendary Hall of Trophies. That side cave which was always there despite us never seeing it before. Batman proceeds to tell Robin Two-Face's backstory. By the way, you'll notice that among Batman's collected trophies is the hypnotizing top hat used by David Wayne's Mad Hatter. This has nothing at all to do with the story, but I gotta ask. As silly as this show wanted to be, why did they make the Mad Hatter look so normal by comparison? Could they really not make him look closer to his comic counterpart? And hang on, where are the labels? How are we supposed to know what these things are if they don't have labels attached to them? Back to the flashback, Batman reveals that Two-Face used to be Gotham's district attorney, Harvey Dent. He has crime boss Maroni in court for questioning, but Maroni throws a vial of acid in Harvey's face. I know that the legal system in Gotham isn't exactly what it could be, but how exactly do you smuggle a vial of acid into a courthouse? So yeah, it's this acid being splashed into Harvey's face that turns him into what he is today. And there's apparently nothing that can be done to reverse the damage. Which is more than a little weird. Harvey Dent made his first appearance in 1942, and while medicine in the 1940s doesn't hold a candle to what we can do today, they were performing some pretty miraculous feats of plastic surgery back in those days. You really mean to tell me that this is beyond hope? But yeah, the once handsome Harvey Dent is now an outcast because of his deformity, and he turns to a life of crime that's based solely on the flip of Boss Maroni's lucky coin. If the coin lands scarred side up, he keeps what he steals. If it lands on its good side, he returns the loot with interest. So what happens if he decides to not steal a car? Does he take it and then give it back to you after giving it an oil change first? For the next 2 weeks, the Caped Crusaders and Two-Face play a dangerous game of cat and mouse across the city. And for some reason, the narration boxes are being drawn differently from the first narration boxes. Son of a bitch, it turned into a New 52 comic! Who's talking and when and from where? Anyway, Two-Face steals the box office from the local baseball stadium, only to arbitrarily give the money to the 2nd Street movie theater. If the movie theater could actually keep that money instead of handing it over to the police as evidence, this might have been a nice gesture. Batman and Robin eventually spot Two-Face holding up a double-decker bus, because Gotham City is in England now? But he escapes before they can catch him. Batman and Robin go back to the Batcave, where they give all the information that they have on Two-Face into the Batcomputer, and this somehow provides them with 2 possible leads. I love how despite this comic being written by modern writers, it still has no idea how computers work, just like the writers of the TV show didn't. Since the Batcomputer has 2 leads for the dynamic duo to check out, they split up to deal with them both at the same time. What's this? The Caped Crusader split apart by that split-faced fiend? No, Batman just sent Robin out on a fool's errand to keep him out of his bat hair. Batman stakes out the Gotham motorway, boasting a $200,000 purse and a collection of classic two-wheelers. Just wanted to hammer the point home that Two-Face might have a fetish for the number 2! But Two-Face and his goons get away. Batman manages to tag them with a bat tracer, allowing him to follow them to their hideout. And Robin is suddenly there to follow them too, since the lead that he was following was so inconsequential that the comic doesn't even bother showing us any of it. They all arrive at Gotham Lunar Observatory, where the only way in for Batman is by scaling up the wall with his bat rope. And what's the point of having a Batwalk if there's no celebrity guest star for Batman to exchange banter with?
We must always keep the element of surprise on our side.
What are you doing here?
I might ask you the same question.
Pursuing the enemies of law and order wherever they happen to be. Well, I don't want to hold you up from your crime fighting.
Thank you, and good luck to you, Mr. Hornet.
Nice to have met you.
Gosh, Batman, what are they dressed like that for?
Batman crashes in through the roof, and a fight scene ensues. Since we see the sound effects being superimposed over the fight instead of simply cutting to a new panel of just the sound effects, clearly this story is taking place during the show's first season. The fight comes to a halt when Two-Face busts out his double-barreled shotgun. He flips his coin to determine if he'll shoot, but the coin lands on its side. No! It's a trick! It has to be! No, not a trick, Harvey. Merely fate! The coin obviously wants us to choose our own destiny! In that case, Caped Crusader, I happily choose your death! Oh crap, I did not think this through. Batman blinds Two-Face by reflecting a little sunlight into his eyes from the buckle of his utility belt. Except that it's nighttime right now, so how the hell is this happening?
What do you know? Haven't you heard of suspension of disbelief?
Batman also feels the need to point out that the highly polarized bat lenses in his cowl are keeping him from being blinded in the process too. Ignoring how that wouldn't be an issue since Batman isn't shining the light in his own face, he doesn't have any polarized bat lenses in his cowl. We can see his eyes perfectly in most of the comic. Also, I know I'm nitpicking here, but shouldn't the bat logo on his chest look more like this? We wouldn't see this more stylized bat logo until Tim Burton's Batman in 1989. Anyway, Robin comes in through the door, because that was always an option, but he slips on some shotgun shells scattered on the floor. Just remember your ballet training, old chum. Everything I taught you about maintaining your balance in an awkward situation. Never mind how the comic doesn't use Robin's background as a circus acrobat to explain why he would have such a good sense of balance. Exactly what kind of awkward situations could Batman and Robin possibly get into? Ew. But yeah, the boy blunder's awkwardness allows Two-Face and his goons to escape. It's a shame that Batman isn't wearing his real utility belt, or else he might be able to throw a battering at Two-Face to knock him out. The next morning at Stately Wayne Manor, we get a little cameo by what's supposed to be Aunt Harriet, except that she doesn't have red hair and she's wearing glasses. You know, this comic was made in January of 2015. Even if the comic artist didn't immediately get the newly released Batman TV show on DVD and Blu-ray, he could have easily just looked up what these characters are supposed to look like before he started drawing. After Aunt Harriet gives Dick a spoonful of holy whatever elixir, he and Bruce change back to Batman and Robin to continue the hunt for Two-Face. And speak of the duplicitous devil, he comes up on the Batmobile's radio to usher them a challenge. Sure's a good thing that the commercially available technology of 1966 could allow him to do that. Just wanted you to know that my next caper will make royal idiots out of you both. Unless, of course, you think you can stop us. With that royal idiots remark, Batman deduces that Two-Face is after the twin princesses visiting from Yakapur on Dock 2 at 2 a.m. They'll also be singing Tea for Two while dressed up as the number 2 and while taking a number 2. They take the Batcopter to the docks, which seems kind of unnecessary. Couldn't they just drive there? It's not like there'd be a lot of traffic to contend with at 2 a.m. In any case, they arrive too late, and Two-Face makes off with the princesses' crowns thanks to some rather gnarly-looking robot claws that aren't attached to anything. They follow Two-Face's two-hulled catamaran to a secluded island, but it vanishes from sight. And yet logic dictates it has to be here somewhere, old chum. Not really. Seems like every time you take out the Batcopter, the yacht you're chasing just simply disappears.
Nonsense. How can a yacht simply disappear?
Batman leaves Robin to pilot the Batcopter while he goes in for a closer look. He eventually comes across Two-Face, who looks like he's about to film the finale for the Goonies. Oh, and look! His pirate ship has 2 masts! Get it? I don't think that you get it! They get into another brawl, but Two-Face eventually gets the upper hand. Since this is Batman 66, instead of anything resembling the real world, Two-Face rigs him up in a pointlessly elaborate death trap instead of just shooting him in the head. Before Two-Face can split him in 2, Batman points out that he didn't flip his coin first. Didn't you already insist that he choose his own destiny? You can't fault him for taking a path that you just disagree with. Two-Face makes the toss, under the impossible stipulation that if it lands on its edge again, he'll surrender. But just like before, it lands on its edge a second time. Batman, meanwhile, has been biding his time to break free of his bonds, and deals with Two-Face's goons. Two-Face himself tries to do him in, but Batman reminds him that he has to obey his coin, and he promptly surrenders. Points for playing up to his psychosis, but again, you were the guy who only yesterday was trying to get him to ignore the coin. You can't have it both ways, Batsy. The following morning at Stately Wayne Manor, Bruce explains that he slipped a trick coin into Two-Face's pocket, which was designed so that it can only land on its edge. Oh yeah, that awesome scene from Batman the Animated Series where the exact same thing happens? They got it from this story.
Let it hit the floor. I want to see it.
That can't happen.
No, it isn't possible. Heads or tails, I have to know. Heads or tails?
Gosh, Bruce, you never cease to amaze me. Go ahead and be amazed all you want, just don't look at him like that when you do. Alfred asks what will become of Two-Face now, but contrary to the oh-so-popular meme of Batman just knowing everything because he's Batman, Bruce closes out with, "When you're dealing with a maniac like Two-Face, who knows which way the coin will fall." And so that was Batman 66, the Lost Episode, and I highly recommend it. Aside from a few hiccups in the art department as far as making it completely accurate to the TV show, this is a really enjoyable read. It's stupid, it's ridiculous, it's nonsensical, but it's the perfect blend of stupid, ridiculous, and nonsensical that makes it feel like it really did come right out of the show. It also includes some concept art, as well as the entire comic in its preliminary sketch form, so you can really admire the pencil work that went into it. It's like watching the animation progression in Pixar DVDs. And as a final added bonus, there's also the original treatment before it could be adapted into a screenplay. They really went all out with this issue. It must not be forgotten that by the mid-1960s, Batman comic book sales were plummeting. But once the TV show aired, they were skyrocketing. So I say, show your gratitude for the show by purchasing your own copy of Batman 66, The Lost Episode. Or, just go and buy the DVDs, that works too. I'll see you next time. Same Bob Show time, same Bob Show channel. You give me curious stirrings in my utility belt, Catwoman.